Now, as I demonstrated in the previous examples, both Firefox and Internet Explorer have a notion of serializing XML to a string. And serializing is basically the process of converting an XML document to a format that can be saved, like a string. Now, serialization can take other forms as well, but string is the most common, especially in most of the real-world scenarios you'll probably run into. And you'd like to do this for several reasons. First, you can use it for saving XML content either to a file or some other persistence method, whether it's a stream or something like that. You can also use this to interchange XML content with another system, something that works with text processing, like, say, regular expressions, which we investigated in the Practical and Effective JavaScript title, also available here at lynda.com. And you also might want to do this to aid in debugging. So if you're working with XML and you've got a whole bunch of logic, there will probably come times when you want to display some debugging messages that contain XML content. And in order to do that, you need to serialize the XML to a string before you can write it out to a console or display it in an alert or whatever debugging method you're using. And as I showed, Firefox and Internet Explorer both have ways of serializing strings. Firefox provides support for an object called the XML serializer, and you just call the serialize to string method on that object. Whereas Internet Explorer makes things really easy. It just simply provides an XML property on each XML node in the document, which provides a text representation of the document tree starting at that node. And just to review, to perform Firefox serialization to a string, you can see in the top example we've got a document fragment where we create a paragraph element with some text inside of it. And to serialize it out, we instantiate a new XML serializer object and call the serialize to string function with the document as the argument. And as I mentioned earlier, that argument to serialize to string, this can be any node. It doesn't have to be the document. You can serialize starting at any node in the tree. So we could have passed in the paragraph or the text or anything like that. And in the Internet Explorer case, we use the XML property on the XML document. And again, you can use this on any node. It doesn't have to be the document, but this is how you get the string representation of XML in Internet Explorer. Okay, so now that we've covered using XML in Firefox and IE, and we've seen how to serialize the data, it's time to move on to our next lesson.